Hey you guys, what's up? This is Devin LaVore coming at you. And when you listen to this video, you'll understand why I just could not wait until tomorrow. I just couldn't do it. Because last night was really super awesome. I felt like God showed up and, with that vision about the changing of the clothes, right? And I felt like, and God's been moving me in this confidence thing that I haven't really shared with you guys too much. At all, really. I don't know, but God's just been moving me in this confidence thing of like, if you hear it, then, and you feel like it's the Lord, then declare it. Just say it. Don't be afraid of, well, I'm going to sit back and wait and see if it's the Lord. I don't know if it's the Lord. He's like, that right there, old clothes, boy. You got to get that out of there. You got to just, if you feel like it's the Lord, you just got to say it, right? And you guys are familiar with the whole specific house thing. Those of you who have been following my videos, you're familiar with that specific house thing that I felt like the Lord asked me to ask him. And it was just like blowing my mind. And I'm like, what are you asking me to do? Is this really you? But I really felt like it was him. So I stepped out in it, right? Well, last night I had so much more confidence than I did in that particular video. And I was just like, babe, I'm just going to tell you this. And I think it's kind of crazy, but I really feel like it's the Lord. And I felt like the Lord said, like, these first 7 days of this 21-day thing that he told me was just about us getting prepared and getting us putting on the right attire. And of course, you're already familiar with that video. And I said, but you know what I feel like? I feel like this next 7 days that we were going to be walking into the fulfillment of all the things that we have been waiting for. At least me and her personally. And that it was going to be like, this is the week it's going to happen. And then I said, and why then? It's like, because you think that's the feast, right? Getting all the promises and holding the vision in your hand. And it's like, well, then why did the Lord put another 7 days on the end of it? And I felt like the Lord said it's because it's going to happen so fast. And there's going to be so much going on. And it is going to be so amazing and spectacular that you're going to literally need another 7 days just to process what's been going on and praise and worship the Lord. Because that's what's going to be happening. And I'm just like, wow. And so I was like, I'm not going to share that with anybody because that's too crazy. And here I am sharing it. And I tell you, man, I really felt the Lord on it. And it was originally just going to be a private moment between me and the Lord and my wife. I shared it with her. And I just felt an amazing amount of confidence that, like, and not only that, but I felt like the Lord gave me a word. And the word was August 18th. And I was like, I do not know what that means, because I was asking him, and I was like, Lord, when are we going to move? I know that you can do it. You can tell us, like, when we're going to move. And, I was praying about that and processing that through. And then the word August 18th came to me. And I just knew it was the Lord. I was like, August 18th. And this was really tough because this was like probably in August 2nd or 3rd. And I was like, that's a long time from now, But I remember back when I was praying, when I first got saved, I was maybe like 2 or 3 years old in the Lord. And I was praying a lot up to the Lord. I was like, Lord, just tell me when. When am I going to get married? When am I going to get married, right? I was like, I want to get married by the time I'm 25. And I just felt the Lord was like, I felt the pull of the reins on that, that sense of like, you may want it, but that's not going to happen. And how do I ease this in and without hurting you too much? And then one day out of the blue, the Lord just said to me, 36. And I knew when he said that 36 exactly what he was saying. And I really, really, really didn't like it. I did not like it because I knew he was telling me you're not going to get married until you're 36. And I was like, wow. And let me tell you something. It was December 20th, 2008 when I got married. How old was I? 36, almost 37 because my birthday's in February. And I'm like, wow. So, it was like one of those things like, well, we'll see if that's the Lord or not. Sure enough, it was. And so the Lord said August 18th. And I'm not sure if that's the day we're going to be moving into our house or whatever. But I just felt like that was part of the word. And I still don't have necessarily a specific clarity on it. But I know August 18th had to do with whatever was going to be going on, and or the miracle, the blessing, and all that stuff, right? And with my wife's word on like the week of miracles, and apparently other people are seeing in that and hearing that as well. I didn't know that until just like an hour or so ago. And then one day out of the blue, the Lord just said to me, 36. And I knew when he said that 36 exactly what he was saying. And I really, really didn't like it. I But it's like and then I wake up this morning, right? I wake up this morning and I feel like the whole changing of the clothes thing is done. And I got this vision of me standing in a line, but it was a line like side by side. It wasn't like a one right after the other type of line. And I was dressed in this white glowing gown, and I know it sounds cliche, but I'm just telling you what I saw. And there was a bunch of people on my left and a bunch of people on my right. We were all standing there, arms at our side, almost like soldiers, just waiting to get in. And we're all just like super excited. We could barely contain ourselves, and we're standing in front of this door. And I just felt like the Lord said that to me. He was like, "You are standing right in front of the door." With your proper attire on and everything, you're standing right in front of the door. And it was a confirmation to me. I felt it was like another adding on to like, whoa, you really are going to do something this week. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And then, a couple hours later, Miss LORILEI Cooley, bless your God-loving soul, she comes out with this word. She came out with an awesome word about new domains of influence, doors, and joy await you. I'm going to link that below so you can click that and get it, or just go right to her webpage or her website and get it. But it says this. One of the things, biggest thing jumped out at me. It says, this week you will begin to see doors begin to open in the most unusual way that you have to take a second look at it, as the Lord is moving outside of your understanding and capacity of where He is leading. See with the eyes of the Spirit. And I was like, wow. And then the next sentence is amazing. It's like He's releasing your reward in fullness. Because me and my wife, that's one of the things we've been just believing God for and declaring and just waiting on, is this the reward of the Lord, the recompense and the work, the Isaiah 62:11. And man, it's just like, and my wife's been seeing like doors and stuff. Isn't that what you said, babe? Yeah. I've been seeing like doors and just, she's been getting this thing about doors. And we hadn't even talked about that. And I saw that this morning and I was just like, wow. I was like, okay, that's the Lord confirming, like, you are standing at the door. And then LORILEI Cooley comes out with that word. And I was like, wow. And see, this harkens back to the video I just released today about that's how the prophetic works. LORILEI Cooley didn't come out with that word, and then I read it, and I went, oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm going to take that for me because I want that to happen in my life. No, that's not how it worked. It was like God was already working it, and then boom. I tell you what, man, she has been the #1 confirmer in this season of my life. Hasn't she, babe? I mean, yeah. Every time we get something, and then it's like literally like minutes later, she could come out with a word on Facebook that's like, mind-boggling. Like we just heard that from the Lord, and then she's publishing it. She's like definitely #1 on the list as far as like people God has been using in our lives to confirm things, and she's not even a part of our life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's just she's just on our team. She's on our team, and we're on her team. We're all on the same team. But yeah, so I just wanted to shoot this video out and say, I thought I was saying something crazy last night, but I really believed it was from the Lord. And here we are, like God's saying it to other people too. And I'm like, man, God is getting ready to blow up in here. So anyway, I hope that encouraged you guys, and I will keep you updated. I didn't want to do 2 videos in one day because sometimes I feel like I'm overloading people. But it's like, man, I just had to get that out and share it because I was like, wow. Like, I just heard that from the Lord, and all these different things that the Lord's doing, and man, and so now this last part of the vision I received today is it's going to be hard for me to talk about. It's going to be hard for me to say because I don't want to throw water on the fire, but I just feel like I should share it. So, as we're all standing in line in front of this door, I saw this big, huge black snake coming in, and it was like a dark, kind of ghostly snake. It was like it was made of black smoke, but it definitely had a solid body, and it creeped in from somewhere, from the desert is where it creeped in, and it slithered like alongside of us, all of us that were standing there, and then it rose up over us like real big, like a big cobra, right? And this is not even something I've shared with my wife. Yeah, she's like staring at me going like, what? As I'm doing this video. And it lurched up like really high. And it was funny because it was doing this like posturing, like, I'm here, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. But it never really got us. It didn't strike at us or nothing. It just showed itself. And it was just like, I was like, is anybody gonna be afraid? Is anyone even afraid of me right now? That's what it was like. And it was like, and I felt like the Lord saying, the enemy, you're at the door, but the enemy's still there. He's still going to try to get some of us to submit to that fear. Because I felt like the Lord was saying, like, if you get afraid, then that's going to give the enemy, that serpent, an opportunity to grab you and coil you up and bite you and poison you with lies and with the same old stuff that he's been trying to do with us all this time. You know, his tactics are not any different. And it's like, I really didn't want to share that. I didn't even really want to process that part of the vision, honestly. But you know, you gotta receive the cool, awesome breakthrough stuff, as well as that kind of stuff, as well as the not so cool stuff. And I just felt like the Lord was like, we were all just standing there, honestly, and I didn't see in the vision necessarily anybody affected by it. We weren't moved by it or nothing, but it did bring like a kind of a change in the atmosphere. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I felt like the Lord was like, you know, don't let that happen. Don't, because all he's trying to do is just scare you. He's one last effort to try to get you to go through, to keep you from going through the door of breakthrough. It's like, don't even do. See, that's another thing that LORILEI Cooley prophesied about a week ago. She was talking about a major door of breakthrough is upon you, and this is it, you know. And it's like the enemy's still going to try to come and do what he does, but it's like, just don't listen. Don't listen to, no matter how big and scary he's going to try and make himself or the situation or whatever. You just got to hang on to the Lord and go through that door and make sure you're staying sensitive to the Spirit, like LORILEI Cooley said, because he will open up a door himself. He'll open up this real little rinky-dinky mousy door, and you think, oh, it's the door, I'm going through my breakthrough. It's like, no. It's like, no, God has a big door for us to go through. So anyway, man, I didn't want to share that part of the vision because I feel like it's like you know, but it's not, you know. God's doing some amazing things. Amazing things are getting ready to happen. And where God's getting ready to send us, the enemy can't come. You know, he can't come in there. I mean, I guess that's not totally true, because I feel like there's going to be some people in there maybe coming into our lives or trying to get into our lives, like at the banquet that Jesus talked about, where the guy came in and he was like, hey friend, what are you doing here? You don't have the right attire. And then they threw him out. There's probably going to be some people in there in our lives or trying to come into our lives to try to hinder our breakthrough in some small way, you know. And but we're going to be ready for it, you know. God doesn't give us stuff when we're not ready. And when we're ready, he's like, here we go, let's do this. So I'm excited, you know. So let's end on an exciting note, you know. Remember, like, man, God is getting ready to do some amazing, amazing, amazing things. Amazing. Like stuff we've been waiting for forever. God's getting ready to do that. And, you know, and if you feel like you're not going to get your breakthrough and you're not going to cross over until September or mid-September, that's great. Well, keep believing for that. But I don't know. I don't see that. I just feel like the Lord's saying this week is the week things are going to start happening. So if this word is for you, man, be encouraged and don't let the enemy rise up and try to scare you, because it's just not going to work. This is a week of miracles. We declare it in the name of Jesus. This is a week of miracles. God's going to do some major breakthrough. We're going to be blown away. So,
hey everybody, I just wanted to make a little addition to Devin's video. We were just talking after he finished the video about just sharing the things that are difficult to share and I guess that are dark, Because I think there can be actually a fear there of like not wanting to share because you don't know how people might respond to it. But it was just that I felt like this is actually really good to share, and it's a positive thing, because then it's like God giving us a warning, or just it's like a friendly reminder. It's like, yes, we're clothed in white and we're ready to go in, but there also can be just this hanging in the background and trying to come over us is Satan. And but it's like, hey, I just want you to be aware that that's going on, so that you can be ready for it, and you can ignore it, and you can continue just praising God for the breakthrough that He's going to give you. And you don't have to be afraid of I'm not going to get my breakthrough, because it's like God has given you the things in advance so that you're ready. And I was talking about how it's kind of like on, if you're playing football or something, and you know the play ahead of time, then you know how to defend the other team that's coming against you.
Yes, that's
and
so good.
And then it's like, if every football team, like, we know their plays, it would be really easy because they would have everybody put up exactly where they need to be so that the other team can't come through. And so I feel like that's what God wants to do for us. It's like we can be listening, and a lot of times we just want to listen to like the good things, but it's like He can show us.
And we want to just share the good things.
Yeah, we just want to share the good things, but it's like
share this and have
God
people
can show us what the strategies that the enemy is using, and so that we are prepared to come against him, and he can't even gain a centimeter or a millimeter of
like influence.
Yeah, he'll have no influence over us, and he won't gain any ground, because God's given us what we need. So I just be encouraged, and just know like God is on the move, and He is going to give us victory, and He's going to do everything that He has promised to do, and even above and beyond. Like, I know even for me today, like I was thinking, I want some healing for my body, and there was like this fear that kind of crept in of just like, maybe I haven't been praying about that enough. Maybe I haven't been seeking it enough.
Oh my gosh,
and so here God's going to be doing all these miraculous things, and then I'm not going to get this healing. And I don't know, it's like God's like saying, no, like I want to do everything. And so I'm believing for miraculous healing this week for myself. And
so the finances can't touch that.
Yeah. And just that when God says He is going to give us every promise He has sown in us, that includes the healing. Because, I believe that God wants me to be healed, wants me to be whole. And so I think it's things like that. Like, don't allow the enemy to sow fear into the promises that God's given us. And so I hope you guys are just encouraged, and just enjoy this week. It's going to be awesome. So until next time, see you later.
Thanks, babe.